Hi all, I'm going to do a brief tutorial on FPP for someone who requested that I use some printed fabric to show them what it looks like when you have to do, and you have to be cautious of your front and back of your fabrics. So here goes. You, this is very handy to have. It's an add a quarter ruler, and it adds a quarter of an inch around the edge of your pattern piece. So that, of course, is going to be helpful, and I'll show you how to use that. A glue stick, some kind of glue, or if you prefer to use a pin, you can use a pin and pin that first piece on. I prefer not to use a pin. I prefer to use the glue. So what I'm going to do first is decide which fabric is going to go and be this large piece, and I think I'm going to use this for the large piece right there. So what I do is I turn it over. I find the piece of the pattern. This whole section is number 1. You start with number 1. Every FPP pattern is the same with the numbering. But here's the difference. Here's the front of your pattern piece. You don't want to put the fronts to the front. You want to turn that over, or you want to turn your paper over. In my case, I'm turning my fabric over and placing it down. So that's step number 1. I want to stick piece number 1 wrong sides together with the paper. That is only for your first piece. Next thing I want to do is trim it. And if you see on this pattern piece, it already has the quarter of an inch already added because it's an outer edge piece. So all I'm going to do is take my regular ruler and put it down on that paper line and just cut that. So here goes. So there goes that. Now, you see how I have that cut? You have to continue it to here, and you want to remember that you want a quarter of an inch past that line as well. So now I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to make sure that I extend that piece a little bit longer. See, at least a quarter of an inch from that piece. Just keep with that. Make sure you've got your quarter of an inch and cut up this way. I want to cut that piece of fabric. So now we have that cut out. So now what you want to do is turn it this way, and you want to go along there. You don't want to cut your paper, right? So you take your add a quarter ruler, face down. Do you see what I did? Here's the ledge, here's the ruler edge. You put it face down on that line, because that's the next line you're going to sew, between 1 and 2, not 1 and 3. You're going to sew between 1 and 2, fold this down, and flip your ruler over. And there's your add a quarter. And that's where your fabric needs to be cut. So now we see what we have. Oh, I have a little string here. Get that? There we go. And then the next thing you do is you trim this line, because you only want your fabric to be here. This piece with a quarter of an inch all the way around it. Even between these two. Even between these two. You need that quarter of an inch in between. So this is how you do it. Again, put your ruler down, fold your paper down, flip it over, and that little ledge gets caught on the paper. And so now there you have your piece number 1. So now you see what we're doing. Now let's move on to piece number 2. Now I want to find my piece number 2, and this is going to be the fabric for piece number 2. And so I need to make sure it fits here. So what I need to do is go like this. You see? And yeah, of course I have enough fabric. So what I'm going to do is cut myself a piece so I don't have to deal with extra fabric. What you're going to do now is face up, because you want the right side of your fabric, this edge, the right side of your fabric to the right side of your fabric. Put that down. You see how I'm placing it? Not right on the edge, not right on the edge. That's what you want to try to do. And what I do to see if I have this right, to double check, is you can take a pen and do this and flip it over, or I just do it freehand. I just want to take, and I really want you to see this. I really want you to see this. Let me lower the camera. Take your piece, flip this back, and now you see piece number 2. You see piece number 2, and you see that you have enough fabric to cover piece number 2 past here and past there. So now you know you're good. So now what you're going to do, now here's what's different about the way that I do FPP. Normally with FPP, you would be sewing on this line right here, right through the paper. I don't do that. I save my papers. So I fold it out of the way and I sew right along the paper's edge. See that? So I'm going to do that and come back and show you what that looks like. So now what I'm going to do is trim it. You see how I stitched right there? Now what you're going to do is turn your paper up and turn your fabric up. You could finger press that, or you could use your iron. I'm going to use my iron for a quick second. It's right here. And so now I have a nice seam. Turn it over. Again, the 1/4 inch is already there. I don't have to pay attention to that side. Cut that piece off. Now, I want to do the same thing on this little edge right here. This little edge right here. And then I want to turn it. Just make it easy for yourself. 1/4 inch again. 1/4 inch is already on the paper. And so now, well, one more. Now I need my add a 1/4. So I'm going to fold this back. And you see how that little bit is just extended there? I'm just going to put my add a 1/4 ruler, put it down, get that out of the way. And now I have my beautiful piece number 2. And now I'm going to take piece number 3, which is going to be this fabric. And you just have to use what you have laying around. And usually when you're doing FPP, you're going to have a lot of scrap pieces like this. So now what I want to do, obviously, is have enough for this piece. So now I could see that I have enough for that piece. Am I going to be thrifty? Let's see if I could be a little thrifty. I want this to fit on here. So what I'm going to do, again, wrong side to wrong side of the paper. I'm going to see if it fits. Does it fit? Fold it like that. Right side to the right side. Put it down. Fold your paper back. Does your piece number 3 have enough fabric all around? It sure does. Put it back down. Flip it over. Now I'm going to take this piece, lining up my edges again. Again, leaving myself some insurance on both sides. Now I'm going to take this to the machine and stitch this down right along the paper. I'm going to do that and come right back and show you what I've got. Now, I just went and I stitched down along the fabric line. Now I'm going to flip up my paper and flip up my fabric. And now I have plenty. I can see I have plenty. I took it over to the iron. I press that down. You could finger press it if you want to, if you don't have your iron near your sewing machine. Put this down. I could take my 1/4 ruler and just put it on the paper line here to the quarter, that line, or I could use a regular ruler, line it up to the edge of the paper, cut that off, line it up to the edge of the paper. I don't want to cut my paper. There we go. There. And there we have it. There you have your pattern piece. Easy to do. Once you get in the sync of doing this, you'll be fine with this. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope this was helpful. See you when I see ya.